begins his School of Hard Knocks fight is an amateur bout in the 185-pound weight class. And it's brought to you by Essential Energy Services, providing oil field services to oil and gas producers in Western Canada. And now, let's meet the fighters. He's fighting out of Banff, Alberta. Please welcome Daymon Miller.
So Daymon Miller comes to the cage, the oldest fighter on the card tonight, making his amateur debut at age 39. 39 years old for Daymon Miller, and when I asked him about why wait until 39, why step into the cage for the first time at 39, he said it's taken him this long to put together the puzzle that is an MMA skill set. He said he needed individual pieces, so he's been training individual pieces. He's a black belt karate instructor out of Banff Karate in Banff, and a very well-rounded fighter is Daymon Miller. Didn't want to step into the cage until he was ready.
Hey, and that's always a smart thing to do. I have no problem with that. And, you know, fighters are able to fight at a higher level, even into their higher ages, as long as they stay in shape. And you look at Daymon Miller, obviously he's in shape there. You know, he trains and has been training for many years to stay in shape and, you know, forever young. We look at great guys like Randy Couture's old, and he does pretty good. I'm okay with him. Well, the funny thing is, though, he's a good friend of Jeremy Edwards, who debuted here at Hard Knocks.
And you can see Jeremy there in Daymon's corner, prepping him with the Vaseline. That's Jeremy standing there. And Jeremy Edwards, who won his debut fight at the same age 39.
39 years old, and Jeremy Edwards, actually probably the nicest guy I've ever met. I'll say that flat out there. And Daymon Miller, looking forward to seeing his first fight at 39.
Says he didn't get much tape on his opponent. Of course, Jesse Enns comes in with just one fight under his belt, just 31 seconds, a knockout loss, but says that just because it was a short fight doesn't mean Jesse can't fight.
He's fighting out of Calgary, Alberta. This is Jesse Enns.
Well, let me correct myself. I call him Jesse Evans, and it's actually Jesse Enns. Of course, Evans is the last name of the fighter who won the previous fight. But Jesse Enns, again, he's got, by his own admission here, he's got hard shins and hard forearms. Working for the city here in Calgary, and again, a Muay Thai background.
Yeah, Jesse lost to Shane Ryan here at Hard Knocks 14. Took the first punch to the ear, and he said at that point he knew the fight was over. It was only a matter of time, and that matter of time saw him take several punches to the chin, as well as a devastating knee to the midsection, which ended that fight by just crumpling Jesse to the ground. When I asked him what he learned from his last fight, he said, well, I learned not to get punched like that quickly, and he kind of laughed and said all he has from the last fight is 31 seconds experience in the cage, which is something that he has over his opponent, Daymon Miller.
Yeah, Daymon Miller is making his amateur debut, and hey, 31 seconds, you know, we were discussing before, when you make your amateur debut, sometimes you get punched in the face the first time, and, you know, part of you goes, no, this isn't for me.
Well, and it's not just cage experience, too. It's also the experience of going to the weigh-ins, of having to make weight, of getting through the process of all your medicals and everything else that goes into being a fighter. And if you want to get through that process, do go to hardknocksfighting.com, click on the Be a Fighter link. It'll tell you everything that's required there. The most rigorous of which, of course, is your pre-fight interview with me at the weigh-ins, which very difficult to get through. Almost 4 whole minutes of questions do I ask at those pre-fight interviews. But nevertheless, Jesse Enns has now been through that before, and Daymon Miller experiencing that for the very first time.
I got to do a whole show with you.
And now for the official fighter introductions. Out of the Build 360 blue corner in his amateur debut, he's 39 years old and stands 6 feet 3 inches tall. He weighed in at 184 pounds. Fighting out of Banff Karate from Banff, Alberta, please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Daymon Miller!
And in the Two Amigos and Company red corner, he's 0-1 as an amateur and is 34 years old. He stands 6 feet tall and weighed in at 181.5 pounds. Fighting independently from Calgary, Alberta, please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Jesse Ronan Enns.
This bout will be contested under the amateur rules, and the referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Brian Beauchamp.
Okay, gentlemen, this is amateur rules. You want a clean, fair fight, protect yourself at all times. Let's touch gloves, make it official.
Miller in the blue corner, black trunks with white trim, all black trunks for Jesse Enns out of the red corner. And our fourth fight of the night is underway here as Miller and Enns meet at the center of the cage.
Yeah, Daymon Miller, I didn't realize in the pre-fight interviews that Daymon Miller was so much taller than Jesse Enns, and you could see him working the underhooks there. He's got 2 underhooks now pushing into the cage. You're going to look at, obviously, some great striking here. He's going to try and take this down with a little bit of a trip to the side.
So far, Jesse Enns holding on the side of the cage. Like you mentioned, double underhooks for Daymon Miller as he continues to look for an advantage. Throws a couple of strikes up against the cage, but nothing too damaging. Those body shots not able to really develop the power that you need up against the cage like that.
Yeah, up against the cage, you can't really turn your body, which is what does the damage. However, this leaning on of Jesse Enns that Daymon Miller is doing is actually wearing his opponent down. Again, Randy Couture, and there's the takedown there. Finish it off with a little bit of a leg tap. Working to get that mount. Again, there's a little bit of a danger in the amateur because you have to strike to the body. That means you stay a little closer. You set yourself up to get swept.
Jesse Enns at the moment holding Daymon Miller down as Miller tries to break that grip. Again, more punches to the body, and eventually Jesse Enns is going to have to defend those. I mean, at this point, he's getting a full punch into the body there, and a tap to strikes. Jesse Enns taps to strikes to the midsection. Daymon Miller is your winner in the very first round as Daymon Miller gets his first win as an amateur, and a very impressive performance.
You know, I've been saying it all night. It's not a question of how hard you punch somebody, it's how accurate and where you punch them. If you look at where Daymon Miller was punching Jesse Enns, he was punching him right in the floating ribs. Those ribs don't attach to the front, so there's very little protection there, and let me tell you, those ribs are easy to break. A lot of wrestlers end up breaking those ribs due to gut wrenches, and what Daymon Miller did was just pound on those floating ribs, and those are huge shots. So very impressive start for Daymon Miller, and at 39 years young.
Yeah, very impressive start for Daymon Miller as he wins due to tap out to strikes. Jesse Enns falls to 0-2. He says this is another stop on his way down to 170. Feels like that is his proper fighting weight, and may do well down there as both the fighters he's fought thus far have been able to both knock him out and tap him out due to strikes.
Well, Jesse Enns is carrying a little bit of extra weight, and so you're right. I think that he can go down to 170, but again, he's getting up here, so we're going to have a decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, while we wait for the official decision, Hard Knocks Fighting would like to express their sincere appreciation to Kaleo Health and Spine Clinic and to Dr. Christopher Morks for the time and energy he spends competing the fighter medicals, and for Calgary Hard Knocks fighters. His work and dedication to the sport of MMA is invaluable and greatly appreciated.
So we have our official decision. We're going to go to Jaden Enns.
The official decision is in. Brought to you by Essential Energy Services. The winner, due to tap out, due to strikes, at 1 minute and 29 seconds in the very first round, in the blue corner, Daymon Miller.
39-year-old Daymon Miller. He's going to be in the center of the cage with Ryan Ballantyne.
Daymon, I'll get a moment of your time here. 39 years young, making your amateur debut. Was it old man strength that gave you the victory today?
Old man anger. Yeah, it's, yeah, you know, I was a little worried about that actually coming in here. But there's a lot of people that help make this possible. You know, I don't think you can get into a place like this without a lot of different people bringing you along the way, for sure.
Now walk us through the finish, because you secured the takedown, you exposed the ribs, and you just started hammering until the fight was over.
Yeah, I was a little freaked out. I've never been in here before. And when I got him against the cage, that's one of my weaknesses. I'm not used to that, but when I got him to the ground, I just saw the opening there, and he wasn't trying to move too much, so I just kept feeding the punches in. I could feel him getting softer. I thought, well, why move?
Now you said you got a lot of people to thank. Why don't you mention some people specifically?
Well, first of all, my wife, Julie, wherever she is. You know, you got to put a lot of time to come in, training time to get in here, and that means sacrifices at home. My kids too. You know, when I'm training, I can't be with them. My karate club, jiu-jitsu trainers, past and present. My boxing club out in Banff, my senpai, and one of my best friends, Jerry's been my corner. I had the pleasure of being his corner for his first amateur fight at 39 too. And so 39, buddy, I made it before 40.
So now will we see you again in the Hard Knocks cage?
Yeah, I don't think this was a bucket list one-time thing. So yeah, I think I'd like to come back.
All right, thanks, man.
Let's hear it again for your winner, Daymon Miller.
So again, Daymon Miller, a very well-spoken guy, did a great job on his fight, finishing it by tap out due to strikes. Mentioned again Jeremy Edwards, who also made his amateur debut at 39. Pair of those guys, obviously friends for a long time. He actually, the funny thing about Daymon Miller, he actually spent 2 weeks in Japan. He came back like a week ago.
Yeah, I spent some time training in Japan. Just got back, I believe, on last Saturday. A very effective time out in Japan. He said he spent some time training out there as well. Again, a well-rounded fighter and a guy with a mild sense of humor, which is why I figured I'd try the old man strength question there, but obviously a solid performance in his amateur debut from Daymon Miller.